Welcome to Infidelity Lab. But before we go on, I want you to note that this video contains mature themes. It explores sensitive topics which include infidelity and its impact. So viewer discretion is advised. I married my best friend when I was just 21. Shay Munoz was everything I ever wanted: kind, ambitious, passionate, and unwavering in his love for me. We built a life together, hand in hand, through every milestone. We traveled the world, chasing sunsets and dreams with an unbreakable bond. We grew in our careers, celebrating each promotion like it was our shared victory. At night, we curled up on the couch watching our favorite movies, wrapped in the kind of comfort that only true companionship can bring. Our first home was filled with laughter, shared dreams, and effortless happiness. More than anything, we had fun together. From the moment we met, I knew Shay was different. We had met at a coffee shop just off campus when I was a freshman, and he was in his last year of undergrad. He had borrowed my pen, flashing me a smile that I would later come to know as his signature: easy, warm, disarming. From that moment, I was hooked. Shay was the kind of man who made people feel at ease. He had an energy about him, like he was in control of his world, but never controlling others. It was part of what drew me to him. We spent hours talking that day, and by the time we left the cafe, I was already daydreaming about the next time we would see each other. Marriage was supposed to be the next grand adventure, and for a long time it was. But then, things changed. It started after a trip with one of my girlfriends, Aria Wilkerson. She had been staying with us for a few weeks, and we decided to get away for a bit, just the two of us. A break from routine. A chance to unwind. When I returned home, I felt different. A shift. An unshakable feeling that I couldn't quite define. But it was there, a heaviness in my chest, a quiet restlessness in my bones. And Shay noticed. "What's wrong?" he asked, concern written across his face. "Nothing," I replied too quickly, too defensively. I knew what was wrong, and yet I couldn't say it out loud, not to him, not even to myself. So I did the only thing I could think of: I pushed him away. I became distant and cold. My words turned sharp, my patience thin. And in my weakest moments, I lashed out. I even accused him of things I knew he hadn't done: flirting with other women, and cheating on me when he was away. Anything to keep the focus off of my guilt. But Shay never retaliated. He was patient, kind, understanding. He tried everything to bridge the growing distance between us. Since we were living apart due to our careers, his job required him to stay in our hometown while I completed my fellowship. He made the 8-hour drive every other weekend just to see me. He never complained about the exhaustion and never hesitated to show up. He even surprised me by setting up a beautiful little one-bedroom apartment near the hospital. "I want you to feel comfortable here," he had said, smiling as he presented me with a brand new sofa and chair set for the living room. And I did feel comfortable. But I also felt suffocated by my own lies. Though, in truth, they were never used. My TV and Wi-Fi were in the bedroom, and that's where I spent all my time. That's where we spent all our time together when he visited. The furniture just sat there untouched. Or so he thought. The truth was, that furniture had seen more of me than Shay realized. Because while he believed it remained untouched, it had already been claimed by another. One weekend, Shay and I were in my bedroom, tangled in sheets, wrapped up in each other like always. But something in me was restless. I wanted something different. Something more. "Let's go to the living room," I whispered, my voice light with mischief. I jumped out of bed, naked, and ran to the couch like it was the most natural thing in the world. Mounted the armrest with a practiced ease that should have made my stomach turn. But I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about anything other than the moment. Anyway, he was very happy to oblige and entered me from behind. Soon, he reached the point of climax, but realized he faced a problem. He felt there would be a lot of his climax, and that things would get messy, dripping out of me and down onto the pristine sofa arm. He looked around in vain for some sort of cloth or anything within his reach that he could use to save the sofa from the pending sexual spillage. Then, he looked down directly beneath where we were joined in naughty, moving bliss, pitying the sofa arm. And that's when he saw them, as clear as could be, old stains. The ones I had failed to clean properly. I hadn't noticed them before. Or maybe I had and forced myself to ignore them. But there they were, unmistakable evidence of something I could no longer pretend didn't exist. Shay didn't say a word. But I felt the change. The fracture. The silent break of something I knew we would never fully recover from. Days later, he took me out to dinner. He kept my wine glass full, his eyes soft, his touch gentle. But there was a weight to his words, a careful deliberation. And then, he asked me what had been going on. I danced around the truth for as long as I could, until I made a mistake. I don't know if I should tell you, I muttered, half drunk, my guard slipping. I don't know if I should tell you, I mumbled, my inhibitions loosened by alcohol, my carefully constructed walls starting to crack. And from that moment, I had no way out. With slow, deliberate words, I told him the truth. How, during that trip, while Arya had disappeared into some guy's hotel room, I had met someone too. How it started as innocent flirting, a harmless game. How one kiss turned into another. I told him everything. How, during that trip, while my friend had disappeared into some guy's hotel room, I had met someone too. How it started as innocent flirting. How one kiss escalated into more. How, in those fleeting moments, I wasn't thinking of him, of us, of everything we had built. I wasn't thinking about you, I admitted, my voice hollow. I wasn't thinking about us. I braced for his anger, for him to storm out. But he didn't. He just sat there, staring at me, his face unreadable. And then, finally, he spoke. I forgive you. 3 words. Soft, unassuming. Almost empty. For months, things seemed normal again. We went back to our routines, our weekend visits, and our shared laughter. I let myself believe that we could move past it. That maybe, just maybe, it wouldn't destroy us. Little by little he started to change. The way his eyes lingered on other women. The way he entertained flirtations he once would have ignored. He was still kind, still loving, but there was a distance now. A quiet shift in the way he looked at me, like I was someone he had once known but no longer recognized. And then, over time, the cracks deepened. He started imagining a life without me. He didn't say it outright, but I felt it. The hesitation in his touch, the way his mind seemed elsewhere, even when he was right beside me. And then one day, he finally said it out loud. He wanted a divorce. I could have fought for him. Begged him to stay. But deep down, I knew that the woman he had loved, the woman he had believed me to be, was already gone. And so, he left. He left, and I was alone. At first, it didn't feel real. The house was quieter than it had ever been. The absence of his voice, his laugh, the sound of his keys jingling at the door, all left a hollow space that echoed through every room. I sat on our bed, staring at the ceiling, half expecting him to come back, to say he had made a mistake. But he didn't. Days bled into nights. Weeks turned into months. And yet, the weight of it all didn't ease. People suggested I start dating again. The best way to get over someone is to get under someone else, Arya had said one night, trying to pull me out of my misery. It was meant to be a joke, but it stung more than it should have. Because deep down, I knew she had a point. So, I tried. I went out on a few dates. I let strangers take me to dinners at restaurants where Shay and I had once sat, fingers laced together across the table, whispering inside jokes that only we understood. The men were nice, some were even interesting, but none of them were him. I'd smile and laugh in all the right places, but it felt forced. Like I was performing rather than truly being present. The spark, the electricity that I once had with Shay, wasn't there. It didn't matter how attractive or charming they were. I was still stuck in the past, trapped in the ruins of what we had built. But I didn't stop. I kept trying, hoping that if I pretended to move on long enough, maybe one day I actually would. The first time I saw him again was at the grocery store. He was standing in the produce aisle, examining a bunch of bananas like it was the most complicated decision in the world. He looked good, healthier, happier, and he wasn't alone. A woman stood beside him, laughing at something he had just said. She touched his arm lightly as if she had done it 100 times before. My stomach dropped. I turned away before he could see me. Eventually, I met someone. His name was Preston Arroyo, and he was kind. He made me laugh when I didn't feel like laughing. He distracted me from the ghosts of my past. He told me I was beautiful and that I deserved love, and for a while I let myself believe him. But the truth was, Preston wasn't Shay. And I wasn't the woman I used to be. I couldn't love him the way he deserved, because part of me was still chasing a past that no longer existed. And that wasn't fair to him or to me. So I ended it before I could hurt him the way I had hurt Shay. Years later, I saw him again. This time, I didn't hide. We were at a mutual friend's wedding. He was standing near the bar, talking with a group of people. He looked happy, lighter, like a man who had finally let go of the weight he had been carrying for so long. Our eyes met. No words, no forced smile. Just silence filled with history too deep to be spoken aloud. Then, he gave me a small nod, a gesture so simple yet so profound. And in that moment, I knew we had both finally let go. Maybe we were never meant to last forever. Maybe our love story was always meant to be a beautiful tragedy. But for what it was, for what it had been, I would always be grateful. And as I walked away, for the first time in years, I didn't look back. If my story resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to stay updated, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in my next video.